Hello, my friends. I'm going to start off our year of tutorials, magical tutorials, and this one is basically the main one on how to set up all your items for magical use. Now, what I'm going to be doing tonight for myself is a abundance spell, and abundance not just of money but of healing energy and good health. That's my main focus because I had such a crappy 2025 health-wise, I gotta tell you, physically I'm feeling so much better since I left, and my hand issue is clearing up really, really well. I'm having less and less nerve pain through here every day. I can do this now and not scream. Hey, it's a huge improvement. My eyes seem to be fine. Praise God. So now I'm going to just move forward. So the moon is currently waning. It is February 18th, 2026. The moon is currently waning. Yesterday was the full moon, and it is the Chinese New Year, Year of the Fire Horse. So Happy New Year, my friends. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to perform a basic, what I now call positive energy transmission, or PET for short. My guides don't want me calling them spells anymore, but because of the algorithm, the word spell will be in the title of this video, because I got to do that for YouTube because no one will know what a PET is. But anyway, that being said, I'm going to show you the basics, and you can adapt this to any intention, any purpose. Okay, the number one thing that you do is you gather all the items you're going to use in your positive energy transmission. And once you gather them and you think you have them all, think again. I mean, even to this day, I will forget something, and then I'll be starting to perform my positive energy transmission, and I'll be going, oh no, I forgot the incense stick, or I don't have the myrrh, or something, to where I've got to close it down. And I always work within a sacred circle, so that means I've got to take down my circle and then go get the missing item, bring it back, bring the circle back up, and basically start from the very beginning. So to avoid that, gather all your items, and even though you're convinced you have them all, go over your list again. And it's good to have your list in writing. Basically, what you're going to need for any spell, if you're using herbs, you need a little dish to put your herbs in. Now, if you're using kitchen herbs, that's perfectly fine. You do not have to buy your herbs from a magical supplier. A lot of people think you do. There's no difference between those herbs and the herbs in your kitchen, okay? You can just go in your kitchen cupboard and gather what you need from there. Go to Google and Google herbs for money or herbs for love or whatever, and it'll give you a pretty extensive list. All you need for your herbal concoction basically is 3 ingredients. So 3 times of herbs. Magical concoctions best work when the ingredients are placed in sets of odd numbers, beginning with 3. So 3, 7, 9, and 13 are all sacred to the Mother Goddess. So you most likely will want to stick with one of those numbers, because once you get past 7, really, it just becomes too much. So 3 or 7. 5, I don't like the number 5, basically because it's the number of change, and who likes change, right? So I don't like to put that energy into my workings. So I'll use either 3 herbal ingredients or 7. This one happens to have 7 because it's heavy duty. I'm banishing blocks to my health and my healing and any type of bad juju that has been sent my way. Okay, now you've got your items. Make sure you have a safe candle holder that is ideal for your size of candle. Now, should you not have the proper size, this is one of these mini chime holders, so it goes right in there. And these candles tend to burn 4 to 6 hours. If you don't have the correct size and you're using a chime candle, just wad up a bunch of aluminum foil and stick the candle in the middle of that foil and use the foil as a holder. Just be sure to bring the foil with you to your magical working before you start. Otherwise, you're going to have to go to your kitchen and get it and start all over again. But I have one of these. These are ceramic, and they're pretty inexpensive. You can find them on Amazon. If I can remember, I'll put a link in the description below so you can get some if you need them. If you're using a votive holder, a votive candle, pardon me, you should use a votive holder. And, votives are just a little bit, they're about this big in circumference. And, we all know what votive candles are. Anything larger than that, I would recommend a heat-proof dish. A bowl that has been cleared for going into the oven, something like that, because as your candle burns and gets down to the bottom of the candle, there's going to be a tremendous amount of heat here. And it's not only going to be from the candle, it's going to be from the energy you placed into your candle. And crazy things have happened. I've had heat-proof bowls, Pyrex, mind you, Pyrex, cracked down the middle as the candle was getting ready to go out. Now, that's an extreme example, but it does happen. It's happened to me. So be careful with that. So what you may want to do is, if you're going to be going around your home, doing other things, being in other rooms, and you're not able to keep a pretty constant eye on your candle, what I would recommend is taking whatever thing you're going to burn your candle in. It's going to be in this, and I'm going to have the holder here. I'm going to place the herbs around the base of the holder and then set my candle in the holder. That's my plan. Take this, you can get like a baking dish and put about, depending on how tall your holder is, because this bowl is very shallow, I would put probably about 1/4 inch of water in the baking pan. That way, should this crack, the wax won't make a huge mess because it'll hit the water and solidify right away. And it also won't cause any harm to your furniture. So if you're going to be, going around your house and doing your business and stuff, be sure to place this in some water and a baking pan with a little bit of water. Another thing you may want to consider, if you have unbelievers in your family, or if you have really bothersome neighbors, surround your candle holder with a ring of salt. That protects it from any type of negative influences. And you begin at the 12 o'clock position. So here would be 12 o'clock for me, as you're facing your workspace, 12 o'clock. And you just sprinkle the salt, moving counterclockwise from 12 to 9 to 6 to 3 and back up to 12. And it doesn't have to be a really thick, solid ring of salt, because the energy of the salt will spread and fill any little gaps. But if you feel more secure in having a complete ring of salt without any breaks in it, by all means do that, because excuse me, magic is so much, it is really pretty much all about directed thought. And if you have any doubts about any of the ingredients or tools you're using in your magical working, that will affect the outcome. So if you feel more comfortable with a thick ring of salt around it, by all means do that. And at the end, as you cleanse your space and pick up your items, just scoop the salt in a bowl or something, take it outside and make it, an offering to the earth element. Salt represents the earth element. So ring it with salt if you've got disbelievers in your home, troublesome neighbors, or you just generally feel bad vibes around your home, because you don't want that stuff to get into your candle work. Okay, you may have some favorite stones or crystals or something of that nature, stone crystal, that is also made of a stone or a crystal that is conducive to your intention. Like say you're working on a relationship, rose quartz, okay, is the #1 stone crystal for love. If you have any, gather it up and keep it, by your items here. You won't be doing anything to it during your working, but it will lend its energy to your working, and we're going to marry all of these energies together, and I'll show you how to do that so that everything will be working toward the same intention. All right, I need to pause a second and take a drink. All right. If you want, you can include oils with the herbs. You don't have to. You don't even have to use the herbs. The most important tool here on my desk here is the candle. If that's all you have, that's perfectly fine. Also, if you don't have the correct color, use white. White represents all the colors of the spectrum. Okay, so use white if you don't have the right color. I'm working on healing and protection, so for me, for this working, blue is perfect color. That's your most important tool. You don't really need the herbs, you don't really need the oils or the crystals, but you do need a safe holder in which to burn your candle. And of course, a lighter, that's another thing. When you light your candle, use a lighter. Never, ever, ever use matches. Matches are made from sulfur. And what is sulfur associated with? The smell of sulfur? Demons. And demons are attracted to the smell. And you wouldn't believe, but the majority of witches are unaware of that. And I see them on YouTube and everywhere using matches. And I'm like, oh, no. No, matches no good. Matches bad. Matches bad. Use a lighter, any kind of lighter, as long as it's not a match. Okay? Got to take another drink. I have allergies. I've been coughing all day. Okay. Now, I would, you don't have to use a scoop for your herbs. I have this one. It came in a kit that I got online, some witchy subscription box. And I just pulled it out because, it's cute and looks fancy. You can just use your fingers. And that's what I always do anyway. I just have this out here for looks. And let's see, what else? For the oils, again, if you're using oils, the type of oil you use needs to match your intention, okay? So if you're doing, a love working, anything that's rose-scented, jasmine, vetiver, things like that, things associated with love. And again, you can go to Google and Google that. There's an excellent book by Scott Cunningham about herbal correspondences. I will put the link to that in the description below this video. Do check out that book. If you do not own it already and you are very interested in performing your own candle work, you need that book in your life. You really do. It is the ultimate source for all herbal correspondences. Now, just because it's about herbs, that doesn't mean you have to buy a separate book about oils or incense. Even though Scott Cunningham himself did write a separate book on oils and incense and brews, you don't need it. Because the herbal correspondences, oils and brews and incense are made from herbs. So as long as you know the herbs that go into it, you can use his herbal correspondence book to figure out which of your magical tools are going to be good for that particular candle work. Okay? So just all you need is that one book. Let's see, what else? Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to show you how to cleanse everything at once. If you have selenite, any form of selenite, whether it be in wand form, they usually sell them in New Age shops in little wands about yay long and about, maybe that thick. You can get them in that form, till the cows come home. This huge one, my husband was, for some crazy reason, he went into an antique store. He felt drawn to go into an antique store, and he did. They had this there under the case. He didn't know what it was, but he bought it for me. And the minute I took it from him when he handed it to me, just a surge of energy went from it into my hand and up my arm. And I just knew it was mine. It was mine. It came home to me. I don't know. It's really weird, but yeah. And selenite, you don't have to cleanse it. Also, selenite is very susceptible to water. It will actually dissolve in water, so do not get it wet, okay? But you can use selenite. You can use a stick of incense. The best scents of incense to use would be frankincense and myrrh, the combo. So frankincense and myrrh together. Also, sandalwood is really good for cleansing. So that's what you do. Now, I'm having allergies, so I'm not burning any incense right now. So my selenite will be just fine. And then all you do is make sure you have all your items. And you may be wondering why there's a paper plate here. You're going to need that as well if you want to use my method. Okay? This is just something specific that I do. But to keep things neat and tidy. So you take your selenite wand, you hold it in your dominant hand. I'm a left-hander, so I will hold it in my left hand. Probably all of you will be holding it in your right hand. And all you do is you take it, look at all your items, and again, just like when I showed you about how to put the ring of salt around your candle holder, you start at the 12 o'clock position, and you gently wave the selenite wand in a counterclockwise circle around all the items. I have to be careful not to include our Patron candle in that. Do not want to zap the energies in that because it's working. All right, and I tend to do this 9 times. Sometimes I'll do it 13. You know, and you can also, if you want to give yourself a cleansing, just take it and wash your aura from the top of your head down to your feet. And don't forget the soles of your feet. That's another thing. Selenite wands are amazing tools. It does not have to be huge like this one. So now, everything here is cleansed and ready to go. But if you want to be really sure it's cleansed, I'll show you how to do that. For anything cylindrical, candles, bottles of oil, crystal points, anything with any length to it, you just take it from the middle to cleanse it. This is to cleanse it now, and you push out to either end. Just push out. And as you're pushing out, you may want to visualize some gray smoke leaving, or black smoke, or something. And what you'll notice as you do this, the item will feel physically lighter. And that tells you it's done. Another way you can tell that it's been properly cleansed is if you own a pendulum and you just take your pendulum and you hold it over the item. Let me grab one right quick. Any weighted object on a chain or tied onto a string will work as a pendulum. Okay, so I've got this Isis necklace here. Here's that small selenite wand that I was talking about. This is a small one. This is typically how you find it in New Age shops. You can get them for as cheap as $3, depending on where you get them from. Okay, but there's the cheap, the little baby. All right, so pendulum is a weighted object on a string, on a chain, and you just hold it with your dominant hand. So it's been cleansed. It still has to be empowered. You know, the longer items are in your home, the more of a positive charge they will pick up. But always cleanse them anyhow, just to be on the safe side. So that's what it'll do when your item needs to be cleansed. So these have all been cleansed by selenite. And I'm going to take, let's do the herbs. Ooh, yeah, that's really heavy for my hand. Okay. And again, hold your pendulum over it and just ask angels and spirit guides, please show me the type of energy within this herbal blend. And there we go. It's swinging back and forth for yes. So it's cleansed. All right, and it's going to do that for all these items because, again, I use a selenite wand. So, you know, instead of cleansing them individually, you can kind of cheat and use something like a selenite wand or a stick of incense. Just remember to be moving in a counterclockwise circle around all your items on your altar or whatever surface you're using for your working. Include everything, and it will work. And like I said earlier, selenite is very inexpensive. I don't remember how much Stuart paid for this. I think he told me it was $25. I don't know, I can't remember. But anyway, there's that. So now all your items are cleansed. Now you have to empower them. Now, it will help you if you write out the intention for your candle work prior to getting everything together. I should have said that at the beginning of the video. I apologize. Write out your intention. And when you're writing out your intention, never ever use the word want, as in, I want a new car. I want to be successful. You go and look up the definition of the word want in the dictionary. The root of the word, I can't remember if it comes from the Norse. I think it does. One of the Nordic languages. But the root of the word means, in English, to lack. Lack means you don't have something. So whenever you're telling the universe or the goddess or God or Jesus or whomever, you want something, they're hearing you wish to lack that very thing you hope to manifest in your life. Want is the worst 4-letter word. So don't use it. Instead, you can use words like, I wish I had such and such, or I desire. Or you can even say a phrase like, I am open to receive $10 million by the end of the week. You know, whatever it may be. You know, but there's other ways to do it. Don't use the W word, okay? So you write out your intention. So you should have your intention here in writing. So when you go to charge your items, when we charge items, well, when we cleanse them, we're taking out whatever energy has been attached to them from the store, from shipping, you know, prior to coming into our witchy little hands. Then you need to charge it. So you need to place your intention in here. That's why it's also important to write it down so you don't flub your repetition of your intention. You'll have it written down in front of you. Typically what I do, my paper plate, is multi-purpose. I write my intention up here. So that's the record of my intention on here. So as I am empowering my items, I can see my intention down here on my desk, and I just reread it as I focus on it. And then you grab your item from either end. If it is long and cylindrical, like this candle, like these bottles, you just push toward the middle as you repeat your intention. Okay? That's all you do. And 9 times out of 10, your candle is going to start to feel a little heavier. It's going to take on a bit of weight. You're dealing with real energy, okay? That makes a difference on a physical object. So that's how you charge your candle. That's how you charge any bottles of oil. Be sure they're completely sealed before you tilt them on their side. And you push inward toward the middle from the top and the bottom as you repeat your intention. And you do that for everything that's going to go into your candle working here. For your herbs, use the index finger of your dominant hand. This is your own personal magical wand that you always have with you. Unless, of course, you've had an awful accident and you lost your finger, or you had the misfortune of being born with a birth defect and you don't have that index finger. Should that be the case, that's why witches have wands, you know, but you don't always need it as long as you have your index finger. You just take it and stick it in your herbs, okay? And you just go clockwise. And you're gently stirring your herbs, and you put your intention into the herbs. Now, if your herbs are dry, you can take your mortar and pestle and smash them together. and kind of twist the motor, but be careful the direction you're twisting it, because you need to maintain that clockwise for manifestation or counterclockwise for banishing and cleansing, okay? Even when you're using this. So like I'm calling in, I'm kind of doing a combination of a manifestation and banishing. It's advanced magic. So for some of my movement, I'll focus on the healing energy I wish to bring to myself. And then I stop and I pause for a couple seconds. And then I start smashing it and moving the motor, or motar, however it's pronounced, counterclockwise to the left, twisting it to the left, moving in a counterclockwise circle around my herbs as I focus on banishing illness, banishing pain, banishing eye problems. That's it. And you don't have to sit there and do it for hours and hours. You just do it for a little bit. It just takes a little bit. Just basically, I'd say about 30 seconds. That's all you need, really. So we have all our items cleansed. We've got the herbs empowered. I'll just go ahead and do the other oils for healing. Healing from negative energy and healing from psychic attacks. As you see, also I'm turning the bottle towards me. You do that as well, because you're bringing the energy to you. Now, if I was going to do this for banishing, I would turn it away from me. But that's kind of difficult. You got to be really careful doing that, because you'll drop it. It just seems to be easier for me anyway to turn it toward me and push the energy in. I can do it both ways, but I've got to really concentrate if it's for banishing. So again, bringing a magnitude of healing energy toward me, healing from negative psychic attacks, healing my eyes, healing my hand, my knees, my hip, high cholesterol. There we go. All right, so they're set. Now what you need to do is prepare your candle. That is the next step. So now you can move this stuff aside, because it's already been cleansed, it's empowered, it is all good to go. And this is when you're going to use your paper plate. Now remember, if you're like me, if you write your intention up at the top, remember to keep it, facing you so you can concentrate on your intention. Okay, you get your candle here. Okay. Now, if you want to inscribe your candle, you can. You can use a ballpoint pen. You can use the tip of a small knife. Be super careful if you're doing that with a chime candle, because these candles are so narrow, you will cut yourself easily. And you can engrave your name and your birth date. And I don't really ascribe to any rule when it comes to engraving. I do sometimes. It depends on how the mood strikes me. If it's a banishing, I'll start engraving my name backwards, beginning from the middle and going out to the ends. And if it's manifestation, I'll begin at the top, go to the middle, and then come back down to the bottom and go up to the middle. So like first name, last name. And then I'll turn it on the opposite side and I'll write my date of birth. You don't have to do that. You can inscribe magical symbols, which you can get, from any good book on magic or witchcraft, if you like. So what I've done, this has already been charged. My herbs are charged. So now what I do is I take the herbs and I put a little bit on my plate. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. And what I do is I sprinkle them just lightly. You don't have to dump them all on here. I'm not going to use all of them for this. I have a purpose for the rest of them. So I'm just going to go like that. As you can see, it's a pretty, light dusting. Then I'm going to take the candle here. We're going to roll it in the herbs, but first we're going to anoint it with oil. This oil was specially made for me by Silver Ravenwolf, the Wiccan author, as a gift with my most recent purchase from her shop. I will try to remember to link to her shop below too. She makes the best oils and candles, and it's awesome. You start from the top. I'm bringing in healing, just very lightly. Put some oil on the candle. You don't have to drench the candle, okay? You just want enough oil, so as you roll it on the plate, the oil's going to spread on the candle, and it's going to help some of these herbs to adhere to the surface of your candle. So then you place it, oil side down. Oh, wait, I did it wrong. Up here, your intention is going to be written across the top if you want to place the intention on the paper plate. And as you read your intention out loud to yourself, healing, banishing of all psychic attacks, negative energy directed my way. You roll it toward you if you're bringing something to you. Now, if you're trying to get rid of something, you roll it away from you, okay? And as you see, some of the herbs will stick to the surface, but not all of them, and that's perfectly fine. You don't need them all, and you don't want them all. Because if you do adhere a lot of herbs to the surface of your candle, what's going to happen when that candle starts to burn down? You're going to end up with a fire on your hands. So be careful with the amount of herbs. Then you take your candle holder and you pop the candle in. Now, if you're using like a little plate or something, you can always, use your lighter here and light the, melt the wax a little bit on the bottom of the candle before you place it on the holder or the plate or whatever it is you're using. This is specially made for it, so I don't have to even do that. Once you set the chime candle in there, it will stand on its own. And I've got it in my plate. I'm going to check and make sure my pentagram is upright. You do not want it to turn and be inverted because that's very, very bad. That's satanic worship. Don't need that. Okay, so it's facing upward. Then you go to your pestle here and you take your herbs beginning at the 12 o'clock position. If it's for manifesting, you go from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Pick up some more herbs. Continuing on from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Gather some more herbs. Go from 9 o'clock up to midnight. And make sure you form a complete circle. A complete circle of herbs is really important. Okay, because you don't want any breaks in the energy. And if you want, you can just add all your herbs to it. That's up to you. I tend to do that, and then after I am done, after my candle's gone out, all the energy from that candle is shared with those herbs, you see. So you take your little candle holder out of the bowl, whatever kind of bowl you're using, and whatever size candle holder you're using. Oops, all those herbs will go to the middle, and you can set them alight. Light them with your little flamer, your lighter, and that will further release the energy into your home. Again, keep an eye on them. Don't leave burning herbs unattended, not even for 2 seconds. You want to be sure if they start to go wackadoodle that you're right there to handle it, okay? Because they won't burn very long, and they might not even ignite well at all either. It depends on various factors. The humidity of your home, the type of herbs you're using, whether you've added anything to your herbs that may have kind of a dampening effect on them, like salt or pepper. Salt and pepper have magical uses. Okay, that's pretty much all of it. And now what you do to light your candle is you take your 2 hands here. Ideally, don't be wearing rings when you do this. Rings block energy. I only have my rings on for the video, but I will now take them off so I can serve as a good example to you all. Take them all off. no rings, no bracelets. Your feet should be flat on the floor. Even if you're sitting, do not cross your ankles because that will cross the energy streams. You need your feet flat on the floor. Hold your hands palms downward. What I do is I form a triangle around the candle and I concentrate again on my intention. And then at this point, you call in your higher power, whomever that may be. For me, I'm a Christian witch. I call on Jesus Christ. You can call on any aspect of the goddess or the god with whom you resonate. As long as you respect that energy as your higher power, you call on them and you ask them in your name, and then you state their name. So I would say, Lord Jesus Christ, in your holy name, I ask that you charge this candle for my intention as stated previously. Aid in this healing for me. Help to bring my physical body into perfect health and perfect balance. And I ask this of you in your most holy and powerful name, Lord Jesus Christ. Through you all things are possible. Through you nothing is impossible. And so it is. You light your candle. I like to measure the energy. So I go, okay, sorry about that. Okay, it's the energy goes up 1 inch above my phone here. That's in a holder above me. So it's really powerful, even though I've been teaching this whole time. And that's it. And then you can, assume any position of gratitude you're accustomed to. With me, I just bring my hands into prayer position. I say, thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you to my angels, and thank you for my spirit guides for attending this sacred circle here today and for this candle working. May the energy be for the highest good of all involved and bring harm to none. So mote it be. Amen. And then you make some sort of a sound, either with your mouth, your hands. You might have a bell nearby, what have you, and just do it 3 times. Me, I clap my hands. And it is done. And that is how you perform what I call a positive energy transmission, what most people call a spell. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you've learned a lot. I should have warned you at the beginning to take notes. I didn't think about it. But there you go. And now what I'll do for the rest of this working is I'll just keep an eye on this chime candle for pretty much the next 4 hours or so. That's about how long it'll take to burn down. And then once it goes out, I can leave it. And then since it's evening, tomorrow I will probably light the herbs. I'll let it sit overnight and light the herbs tomorrow. So I thank you very much for watching. If you've gotten anything out of this video, I ask you please give this video a like and please subscribe to my channel. It's a baby channel. I'm trying to grow it here. And also when you subscribe, you'll see a bell show up and it'll do a little dance. Please click on that bell as it's dancing, and that will open a little sub menu. Ooh, almost burnt my thumb. And that will, like I said, open a sub menu and click on all. You will receive a notification every time I post to my channel. And I tend to post on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you all again. This is Nefer Khepri, the Cozy Intuitive Creative, and I'm wishing you all a very blessed day ahead.